All right, it's 10 o'clock now, so let's begin. Welcome everybody to today's webinar. This webinar is being recorded. Joined today by my colleagues Johanna Ott, and John Boudwin. I hope I said that right. So today we're going to be talking about the INSPIRE schema updates. But first, quickly, for those of you who don't know, a little bit about wetransform. So, okay. So, as you probably know, we're based out of Darmstadt, Germany, and yeah, we support two different softwares: the open source hale Studio software for data transformation, which we'll be using today to update an existing INSPIRE transformation project. And we also offer Hale Connect. It's a SaaS platform that enables INSPIRE implementers and other people doing data transformations to publish their data and network services online. So we have over 130 customers at this point and over 5,000 users. And here are some of our customers. So we've been offering INSPIRE as a service since 2015. Why is that? It's wanting to jump forward. So we've been supporting INSPIRE as a service since 2015. We support over 1,000 organizations. We have over 150,000 resources published on the platform. So people really use our platform to fully automate harmonization. It reduces the effort a great deal to be able to put your transformations online and update them easily. I'm gonna show you a bit about that today. And as we'll also see, it's fairly easy to update the model when necessary. So in this case, it will be updating both the schema and the transformation project. All right. So onto the INSPIRE schema updates themselves. So, I mean, the last time there were major version updates to the INSPIRE schemas was, 10 years ago, on April 30th, 2015. I found this very, very old archived European Commission document, which describes that. I linked it here. Yeah, and so it's really been a long time since the INSPIRE schemas have experienced such a major schema update. And that's also what we're dealing with now in 2024, where we have some schemas that have gone from 4.0 to 4.5, or sorry, 4.0 to 5.0. And we also have some that have stayed version 4.0, so they didn't experience a major version change. However, breaking changes were introduced within the same version, which is not super clear. So if you'd like to take a look at the schema changes, one of the best places to do that is to go to the INSPIRE MIF application schemas GitHub repository. I've also linked that here, and we'll make these slides available. And there you can go take a look at the actual changes in the GitHub repository, and there you can see. So in 2024, here's at least the 2024.1 release. Major version changes did occur for some schemas, and also some very commonly used schemas, such as protected sites, for example. At wetransform, we really do our best to stay abreast of the current and ongoing changes. So we're always watching the MIG-T meetings. These are the working group assigned to INSPIRE maintenance, and we're always watching for the latest updates from the MIG-T meetings. And in the latest MIG-T meeting, it was announced that the GRC has made a proposal to use the older schema versions only for the next 2 years following a major release. So the JRC has proposed, as I've highlighted here, and this slide comes from the latest MIG-T meetings, which you can also find online. They have proposed keeping the old schemas valid for just one additional monitoring and reporting cycle. So that means that use of the new schemas would be mandatory from monitoring and reporting at 2025. Whether or not that will be tested, I've posed that question as well in the associated GitHub repository, whether or not the use of them will be tested in any way. So I think that's also still an ongoing discussion. But the proposal is to only use the older schemas for the next, be able to use them for the next reporting cycle. So what schemas were updated and why? Again, there's a list of the schemas that were updated. I've linked that here. Again, you can see it in the schemas repository. I've listed them here. We've also posted a blog where you can read a list of them. Some of the schemas, I've tried to group them into categories as best I could. Some of the schemas were updated due to schema imports. So, maybe the schema itself did not experience any changes, but a schema that schema imports was updated, and therefore the import was updated. And this results in a breaking change for those schemas. So those schemas are listed here. So you have, for example, hydrography and some other schemas. The next group are related to schema updates where enumerations were converted to code lists. So a decision was made to deprecate enumerations in INSPIRE, and that decision was to convert the enumerations to code lists. And so that's what happened here. In these schemas, you had the encoding changed to attributes that reference enumerations, and so that encoding was then changed to rather reference the converted code lists, the enumerations that were then converted to code lists. So that's this group. And here you see it's also including the base types and the observable properties, XSDs, some elevation, and the transport networks. And then the last group here is schema updates for various reasons. So in some cases you have, for example, in the case of PLU, it was really a typo fix. So there's really, one letter of an attribute or property name is changed. And unfortunately that leads to a breaking change for the whole schema. Something to note in this group is, I guess also for a lot of you are implementing Xplano data, which is INSPIRE planned land use. Arguably the most maybe confusing or troublesome schema update here. So what was done there was that, as I mentioned, this typo was fixed in the attribute named background map URI. And what happened is they didn't create a new version. So they didn't push PLU to version 5.0. They made this breaking change in this version. So that's something we've been dealing with in the Hale Connect platform, because we have a lot of customers implementing Xplano, and really what this means is a lot of transformation project updates. So you see here a number of different types of changes. Also in protected sites, they fixed a typo in the attribute INSPIRE ID added a new attribute, moved attributes to a different data type, different things. So that's that group. One question we've been getting a lot is, so how can I update my resources to use the updated schemas? So that's what we'd like to focus on today. Hale Connect will be updated to include the new INSPIRE application schemas that we just showed on June 21st, 2024. So that's coming up this month. And here you can see an example from our test system where we have, in addition to the legacy 4.0 schemas, we also have the updated 5.0 schemas. So those will be available soon for use. And we definitely do recommend, if you have not yet created resources on Hale Connect, to begin using 5.0 schemas as soon as possible. You'll also see that the INSPIRE schema updates are currently available in the INSPIRE Validator. So you can see a link to the official schemas in the abstract test suites and the executable test suites related to the test validation against INSPIRE official schema is updated. So you can see there that the link to the official schemas does in fact point to them for those schemas that were changed to the 5.0 versions. Okay. And finally here, just want to again discuss where you can follow along and sort of, how you can watch or, become aware of the latest schema changes. So, I mean, schema updates are a very long and ongoing process, continually evolving. Even now, there's new schema change proposals being made by implementers. So it's always a good idea to prepare yourself also in the future for what is coming next. You can always take a look at as I mentioned earlier, the INSPIRE MIF application schema GitHub repository to try to follow along on development. So there you can look at the schema change proposals. Those are voted on by the MIG-T. Those are reviewed and then voted on and decided whether or not they will be accepted. You can always stay current on what is happening there by checking out this GitHub repository and watching the change proposals and people's discussions on that. Although we have just had the latest update, there will be, I'm sure, more schema change proposals ongoing. Okay, are there any questions at this point? Otherwise, I would go into a live demo of how we can update an existing INSPIRE protected sites harmonization project in Hale Studio. Best practices for how we would update that from version 4.0 to version 5.0. But before I start, do we have any questions? Let me just see. Let's see. Johanna, do you see any questions? I'm looking for my.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
But
I'm also monitoring the chat all the time. So if anyone has any questions during the presentations and so on. Now I see something in the chat. Will the recording be public of the webinar, I assume?
Yes. Yes. Yes, the webinar will be public. We also have other resources. So we have a tutorial, which we just published. I can share that quickly here. In our documentation, I can put a link to this. The German version is coming today, maybe tomorrow, as soon as possible. It's done. It's in process. This is a link to the tutorial. So what I will show you today is more or less also what you can read and follow along here. We have the blog post, which yeah, you might have seen already, and then we'll make this webinar available as well. Okay, so then I will begin. Let me just share my screen. Can you see the hale Studio?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great. All right, so this is hale Studio. I have already loaded my existing protected sites version 4.0 transformation project here. So, and Johanna is the real expert. So Johanna, please jump in if I'm doing something wrong, but I think I've got this, but just jump in if you have any comments or anything to add. So I have some German protected sites. It's a shapefile as my source data. And I have here my existing protected sites 4.0 schema. So I can check the version of it by looking in my project window. So I'm in the bottom right-hand corner of my hale Studio, and I can see when I look at my target schema here, that it's in fact INSPIRE 4.0 protected sites XSD that is loaded there. So that's how I can tell what schema I have, what version that is. Okay, so that's 4.0. And the purpose here is to try to update this now to 5.0. So what I would do now is click on File, Reload and Update Schemas. That's on the File menu. I click Reload and Update Schemas. And now I want to, you can see here is, again, it's saying that my current schema location is 4.0, but I want to update it. So I'm going to click on the Update. Okay, and then I want to go to the tab that says from preset. From preset, I click in the select preset field, and that will invoke this dialog, and then I can search for protected sites. Again, there's all of the preset schemas here we have for XPlan, for INSPIRE, CityGML, etc. So I type in filter for protected sites, and there I can see, because already available in hale Studio comes fully loaded with all the 5.0, all the updated schemas. So they are there in hale Studio currently. I select INSPIRE Protected Simple Sites 5, click OK, and then next, and then finish. So now you can see that my target schema is now showing version 5.0. I'll click OK. And now it's loading the schema and the data. All right. And now we get to this dialog. This is about as user-friendly as this type of operation can get. So the good news about cell entity matching is that hale Studio now recognizes that it has an alignment, but some things are changed. And sometimes it needs some support in determining what it is that is changed. Sometimes hale Studio can make the match exactly, and sometimes not. Johanna, did you want to add anything here? Is that?
No, I think
that's it. Okay. So really you will see this pop up when basically there's a schema change or some sort of change in the alignment that hale Studio cannot handle itself. So it's asking for user input. So right now it is saying an entity that is referenced in a mapping cell cannot be resolved. This may be due to a changed schema with, for instance, changed namespaces or property names. To update the cell, please select a replacement entity to the left. A candidate may already be selected. Press skip to leave the cell entity unchanged, or cancel to skip all remaining entities. So right now we are looking, what we are trying to do in this dialog is to try to tell Hale Studio where is the protected site type. So I'll just filter in here and I will click on protected site. I'll click OK. So this dialog will continue to appear successively until all changed, all or unclear mappings are handled. But don't worry, if you can't handle one of the mappings and you don't know what to choose, for example, you can just choose skip, and then you can handle it later in the UI. Hale Studio will also validate what you've done as well, and of course you'll also be, errors will also be, shown for you in the validation, which I can show you after. So do the best you can. If you don't know how to handle a particular element, you can skip it and move on to the next. Okay, so here's an example now, the geometry attribute that Hale Studio has correctly identified. So it has identified that, okay, it thinks that a protected site geometry is this field here, this attribute geometry. So I'm going to click OK and accept that that is an exact match for that attribute. I'll click OK. Now it's looking for ID. That also looks okay. It's looking for GML ID. Where is that? That's there, correct. I'll also click OK and accept that match. It is an exact match. Once again, now it's looking for GML identifier. Again, that's an exact match. I'll accept the suggestion. Now it's looking for GML identifier code space. That's also good. I'll click OK. And now we've gotten to one of the INSPIRE schema update changes. So in the schema, there was a typo in the attribute name local ID. And that was one of the things that were changed. So you can see here now, Hale Studio doesn't know how to find that now because it's spelled differently in the new schema. So here's also another example. If you know, it's a good idea before you do this, you could take a look at what was changed in the schema. If you know how the schema was changed and what was done to the schema, then you can sort of anticipate also some of these what it's looking for. So I'll expand protected site. I know I'm looking for INSPIRE ID. You can see in this example, you can see here on the left, you see it says INSPIRE and then ID, and the last D is small case here. And you can see over on the right-hand side, the ID are 2 capital letters, ID, the D is uppercase. So that's the change, and that's what Hale Studio now needs you to tell it. So we're looking for INSPIRE ID identifier local ID. So I have to go down here. And again, I'm trying to match the correct property on the left-hand side to the last property listed on the right-hand side. So it's looking here for local ID, and now I've selected local ID. Click OK. Now, again, it's looking for INSPIRE ID, identifier namespace. So INSPIRE ID, identifier namespace. I'll click OK. Now it's looking for protected site legal foundation date. Well, if I expand protected site, I don't see a legal foundation date here anywhere. I can also type filter, legal foundation date. Okay, In this case here, Johanna, should I map this to the nested designation type? I guess that's.
I guess that would be one of the cases where it would pay off if whoever needs to do that checks the changes first. So if you read in the changes from 4.0 to 5.0, the legal foundation date was moved from the protected site level to the designation type level. You could do that. If you don't know what to do, I would always say skip, note it somewhere, say, okay, there's still a legal foundation date attribute I didn't handle yet, and then I can address that later on. So in this case, to be honest, I didn't read all 4.0 to 5.0 changes, so I don't know by heart if that's the same. So yeah,
okay.
I would skip that for now.
Okay, so we can just press skip. But I mean, okay, let's press skip. Okay, there's a lot of here that come with the legal foundation document type, so legal foundation document. I guess I could just, I could so here we're looking for if I exited this. So here we're looking for example, designation. Oops.
It's inside designation. So if you go down to site designation.
Yes. Here, okay. So if we look down here, legal foundation document, then we're looking in CI citation, and we're looking in date, then we're looking in CI date, then we're looking in date again, then we're looking in choice, and we're looking for date time. So there's quite a few of these now, and this it appears tedious, but that's the alternative is to just skip these dialogues and then do it yourself manually in the UI. But I'll go through and do this now. I'll just map the designation type that's nested within site designation here. So I go date time, okay. Now we have protected site, legal foundation document, CI citation, date, CI date, date type, CI date type code. Okay. Again, I'm just trying to find the element on the right in the existing structure. Okay, so here I'll go site designation type, legal foundation document, CI citation, date, CI date, date type, CI date type code, code list. Okay. Same thing. So site designation type, legal foundation document, CI citation, date, CI date, date type, CI date type code, and then code list value. Okay. And again, hopefully I hope we're getting there. Legal foundation document, CI citation, other citation details, character string choice, and then the character string within the character string choice. Okay. All right. Designation, legal foundation document, CI citation, title, choice character string and the character string. Okay. Legal foundation, no reason. Site designation. no reason. Site legal foundation document, no reason. Okay. All right, protected sites, site designation, designation type, designation href. And here's an example where Hale Studio did get it correct. So there they've identified the correct site designation, designation type, designation href, okay? And there it's guessed it again. So site designation, designation type, designation scheme, href, okay? Okay, now we're looking for protected sites, site protection classification, that's also correct, okay. And there we are done. So once you worked your way through those, again, it'll be as complex as your existing mapping is. So we can see here when we look down at the bottom, it's always good we check our instance validation. So here you can see we have a warning. So I'll just double click on the instance validation here in my report list window. Here I can see then when I double click in the instance validation in the report list window, I see on the left in the properties window in the bottom left-hand corner, I'll see my warnings here. Okay. So here it is telling me that for this date, I don't have enough property values present for some reason. So let me see. Oh, that was legal foundation document. Okay, foundation, legal foundation document. CI citation date. Date. Date.
Assume there's simply not our values provided in the source data because it's it is filled, but only 37 times. So we could quickly check the source of the source attribute is always available and filled.
Okay, so let me just check that quickly. Okay. Okay, just a moment.
So that's not sure if I can paint here, but yeah, you can see on the right hand side in the alignment window that it's using the Version ab in German, so the version.
Version ab. Let's take a look. Click on Version ab, go to my properties window in the bottom left hand corner, click on occurring values, click the arrows to take a look at what's in there.
Yeah, I assume it's so you would not see empty values here, so we could not try with a filter and see if the empty values, but that's what I assume because it is used and filled, but it has only 37 values. So
yeah, okay. Okay, I guess I can put that on here quickly. So add so this would be value does not equal.
Yeah, it always depends, of course, on the source data. You can try with null.
Value.
So it's does not equal null, but yeah, it's
we try.
It's not as easy to say that in general. No, that won't work. Yeah, I don't know. Like it depends on the source data. We would need to look into.
Okay. So let's assume that in our source data we have 3 null values in here. So a few follow-up comments here. If we just look now at let's assume we solve the the one warning we have about not having missing 3 values in one of our date fields. If we just take a quick look at our project, if I go to the project window here, and we look at the target schema, and I click that, you can see now that that our target schema has been updated to INSPIRE Protected Sites version 5.0. So a few comments about that. As we mentioned, it is a good idea that that you do begin to update these. I mean, I know a lot of INSPIRE implementers, they did their mappings 10 years ago and haven't looked at them since. But unfortunately, what this schema update does mean is that if you have a harmonization project that uses the 4.0 schema, there's no really super easy or way to update that. You really have to go through this process to update to use the new schema. So all transformation projects that use a version 4.0 for which a 5.0 is available, it does mean you need to go into Hale Studio and update those. As we mentioned, Hale Studio will do its best to identify the updated mappings for you, but you do need to provide some feedback to how to handle it. And again, if you don't feel comfortable or you don't know the answer to some of the questions in that dialogue, you can just skip the ones you don't know, accept the ones you do know, and then handle, as I showed you with the warnings, try to handle all of the remaining errors just in the UI by looking at the mapping. I guess one more alternative to what we've shown you here is, Johanna, did you want to mention briefly manually editing configuration files?
Yeah, I will mention it, but I will not show it.
I didn't plan to show it because I think this is what we're recommending as best practice, but for super advanced users like Johanna, there is an alternative.
Yeah, so for everybody who knows what the alignment XML file is, there is a way to also replace the schema in use there. So everybody who never heard about that file, just forget about it, do it this way with the UI. That's definitely the safe bet. The other way is only for really advanced users. So there is a way to exchange the schema used there manually. That will also always need to include exchanging all the namespaces in use in the mapping. And of course, then there is no handling made for attributes where something really changed from one version to the other, where it was not a easy replacement. So you should only do that if you know what you do, if you know the alignment XML file. There again, we're also happy to help, of course. If you want to start with that more advanced way, feel free to reach out to us. We can always support you with that. It is for really big alignments and for experienced users, it might be faster. So yeah, I would definitely wanted to drop that here as a note, but yeah, for normal alignments and more beginners or normal users, this is definitely the recommended way.
Yes, for some of our customers, I mean, they have maybe hundreds of mappings. That's also what Johanna means. If some of you don't know, some of our users hundreds or maybe even 1,000 mappings in one project, and in that case, the method then Johanna suggests is also possible. But again, manually hand editing configuration files, that's only for certain users. All right, so now that I have this project here, I would save it, do my best on trying to add the missing values, and be done with that update. Do we have any questions about this, about what we've shown today? This is something we've definitely discussed internally and really determined that this is our recommendation in terms of best practice for updating the schema version in Hale Studio.
Yeah, there was one more question on where the webinar will be downloadable or viewable. So I also answered it, but I'm not sure if everybody's checking the question answer thread. So the formal registration link that you all used to register for that webinar will be converted into a web page where you can then download all the resources we're providing.
Great. Yeah.
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 If more questions come in, I can also continue to answer them.
Yeah.
Maybe one side note, as there's still time left. For those who are only concerned by a 4.0 breaking change, so if you don't need to update to a new formal version 5.0, but your 4.0 schema simply changed, the same dialogues will appear for you. So Hale Studio will access the 4.0 schema via URL, and then it will also realize, okay, something changed, my mappings do not fit anymore to the schema available there, and then the same dialogues will appear. So if you don't change the schema as stated at the beginning and still see these dialogues, don't be confused. They will also appear if your 4.0 schema simply had breaking changes.
Because Hale Studio points, the XSD referenced in Hale Studio points to the online schema?
Yeah, it depends on the Hale Studio version you're using, but in the latest Hale Studio release, we also have the latest schemas, and we're basically referencing the schema by URL. So we say, okay, we use the for example, planned land use, what you mentioned before. We continue using the 4.0 schema, but it had a breaking change. Then, of course, when loading the mapping, Hale Studio will try to find that attribute that is now written differently. So then it will pop up and say, well, I can't find that anymore. So yeah, just FYI for everybody who's not consciously changing something, but using a new Hale Studio version, and then will run into these dialogues. So this can also always be related to a breaking change in a 4.0 schema.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have two more questions that came in. One is in case of noise, we did our reporting as a geo package. I'm not sure anymore if the schema has changed in the meantime. That I don't know. That would need to be checked. I'm also not sure where the END geo package schema updates would be communicated. I could definitely ask back to my colleagues who are more into END. That's an anonymous person though, so I can't really follow up. You can if you send me your name, or also if you can contact us on a different channel, please do so, and then we will check with our colleagues working on the noise data.
Okay, super. Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, sorry, one more question. Okay. Will it also be possible to update schemas in Hale Connect?
Okay, hey, let me show you that. I can do that right now. Okay. All right, so can you still see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. As I mentioned, all of what we just went over, including now the Hale Connect part, is available in the tutorial, available now in our documentation. I'll show you quickly how then we would do this on haleconnect.com for those of you who are using haleconnect.com. So again, first step, you need to update, you need to update your mapping in Hale Studio for your transformation project. And then what I would do here is, update my transformation project. So if I had an online transformation workflow, I would then save my now updated transformation project and use that project on Hale Connect by uploading it or replacing my existing transformation project. But for the schema itself, what I would do first is I need to create a new schema. This is assuming you have an existing publication on Hale Connect that you want to update. So let's assume you already have a version 4.0 schema and you have your version 4.0 based Hale Connect theme. Then to create a new schema, I would select create a new schema, select a preset, continue. Now again, I'm on our test system, so I can see the 5.0 schemas. We have them there. This is, as we mentioned earlier, not available yet on haleconnect.com. That will be available on the 21st. But I'll select here INSPIRE Protected Sites 5.0. Just say the webinar version 5.0. Okay. Continue. I don't need to create a new theme here. When you create a new schema, you have the option to automatically create a theme that uses that schema. We don't need to do that because we already have everything set up on Hale Connect. We just want to update the schema. So I'll just create the new schema. I'll click create. And here now is my INSPIRE version 5.0 INSPIRE Protected Site schema. I can look at my list of schemas, and there is my new schema. Now I'll go to my theme. Let's assume I have a theme that uses INSPIRE 4.0 features. So I would go to my theme. I have it configured the way I want to have it configured. I have my view and download services configured. Now I go to feature types, and I want to, I don't want to use now the 4.0 feature types, so I'll delete them. Yeah, I want to delete the schema. Do you really want to delete the schema? Yes, I do. Now I'll add a new type. So I want to add webinar version 5.0 app INSPIRE Protected Sites features. And I'm going to add them all, And now you see, my theme is now using the new schema. So again, the step is really create a new schema with the 5.0. Don't create a new theme. Go to your existing theme that is based on the 4.0 schema, and then delete the 4.0 schema feature types and add all of your 5.0 feature types to your existing theme. Now this theme is using the version 5.0 schemas feature types. And now what you would do then to update your publication is just, you would have to, so rerun your transformation project, either online or in Hale Studio. You'd need to, of course, generate the updated GML file, and then update your file for publishing, and then that should work with your newly updated theme. Any questions about that? So really, if you have a few things to update, you have to update the transformation project on Hale Studio if you're using Hale Studio. If you're using transformation projects on Hale Connect, update your transformation project. If you're using the transformation project on Hale Connect, then the GML file should be automatically created. And then when you update your theme, then that should work. If you're not using transformation projects on Hale Studio or on Hale Connect, you need to export your GML file from Hale Studio and then change your file on Hale Connect. But that is how also we're recommending as a best practice to update your existing themes and set up workflows by just changing the feature types on your theme to the new schema. And again, this is also clarified step by step in the tutorial as well. Okay. Do we have any questions about that or any further questions? No open questions. All right.
Yeah, there was one more question, probably also interesting
Okay.
to many people, which is about the Next.js Studio release, if that will contain the latest version of the INSPIRE schemas that we're currently discussing. I'm pretty sure yes, but I would like to double check with the development team. But maybe Kate, you know for sure. But
what was the question?
If the Next.js Studio release will contain these versions, but I think yes.
Well, what I'm using here is version 5. Yeah, what we
Yeah, maybe 5.10 already does. To be honest, I'm not very involved, but I can check and get back to you. But if it's not in there yet, I'm sure we will include it in the next release.
Here in the, I mean, I'm using version 5.1. If you go to here, put it in the chat. This is the page, this is the releases of Hale Studio. Everyone can look at that. This is our latest release, Hale Studio 5.1.0. We are planning 5.2.0 release that's coming, but that's not yet available. That's in testing. And here you see in the enhancements, here, update INSPIRE schemas, update offline versions of INSPIRE schemas to 2024.1.2.
Okay, great. That's exactly what the question was, in my opinion. Then it's there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, then you need to go and get there you go, the latest versions. Yeah. And that's the version I used in the tutorial today. I'm using version 5.1.0. Yeah. Okay.
There's one more question.
Okay.
If we have time. Otherwise, I can also answer them.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I think written, I don't know. The question is, I need to upload a version 5.0 scheme updated in Hale Studio to Hale Connect first to be able to choose it as preset in Hale Connect.
No, not quite. But so on Hale Connect. Oh, and Johanna, you go ahead.
Oh, you can.
Okay. The presets on Hale Connect are schemas that we load onto the platform and make those available. Unfortunately, the end user themselves cannot add presets to our platform. Although that would be cool. That would be a good functionality to let you put whatever schemas you want in there. But the presets we have there are presets that we control, and we put the official schemas there. We have not yet added the 5.0 presets there. That's coming on June 21st. So this month, in 2 weeks, we will push changes to the platform to update those schemas for you, so you have them available. I guess alternatively, Johanna, you could on Hale Connect, if you really want to do it today, you could just create a new schema based on XSD.
Yeah, sure. You could always use the URL to the INSPIRE schema.
Yeah. If you really don't want to wait, and you don't want to do it in that way, you could, when you go to create a new schema, instead of selecting choose from presets, log in, one moment. Instead of choosing from presets, you could choose, so this is the create new schema. you could, yeah. Our goal is to have them here select by preset, so you can just pick them from the dropdown. That's not live yet on production. This is the test system. Then you could select here, enter web address. If you had the URL to the XSD, and then here you could enter the URL link to the 5.0 XSD and do it that way, create your schema that way. Alternatively, if you downloaded the XSD file, you could select upload schema file and then upload your XSD file. So you could do that today, that's no problem. We just don't have them loaded for you yet and available here. So, but yeah, you can always upload your own schema via file or URL, always, whichever schema you're working with. Yeah. Good point. All right. Any other questions?
Nothing in the Q&A or chat right now.
Okay. Oh, Fabio raised his hand. Fabio, do you have a question? Maybe he's just saying hi. Let's see. Oh, allowed to talk. I need to, okay, sorry, okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Yeah, no, just to let you know that yeah, probably the preloaded schema in hale, they are not the coming from the latest version, no? So yeah, this year there was a lot of there are many hotfixes due to this change in the main the major version of for some schemas. So yeah, so I also worked with hale, and yeah, I think the schema that can be loaded from the dedicated menu are those that are in the let's say in the cache of the hale. So probably the latest version of the latest release, that is the 2024.1.3. So the schema that was updated in this release are not available in the cannot be loaded from the preset menu. Just to
Yes.
yeah.
First of all, thank you for joining today. For those
Yeah,
of you
yeah.
who don't know, Fabio works in the a lot in the INSPIRE Validator, so he's one of the hardest working guys out there. Yes, that's true. So what Fabio is saying is that, yeah, if you looked at that release here, you can see here we've updated the schemas to version 2024.1.2, but what Fabio is saying is there's been also a few more updates. That's right, Fabio? There's been a few more like minor patch changes there that may not be there, I guess, depending on what schema you're using. That's right. We also need to continually update. So yeah, always a good idea to know exactly what schema you're working with and what version it's on. Johanna, any comments on that?
No, thanks a lot for the hint. We will definitely pass that on to the developers and make sure that we update them once more.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I do remember that we still included some of the hot fixes because yeah, some schemas were not really usable because yeah, of failing imports and so on. But it's definitely well possible that it's not the latest state for all of them. We will take care.
Okay. Great. Then any other questions? I think Christine has a question. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for this presentation. I just want to be sure that I get everything right, also to spread this information to my colleagues. We have some published services via Hale Connect out there, and I would like to ask you if we have, so all services have to be checked if there is another schema behind it now. So it's a major revision of all our services we have out, right? And this should have been done until beginning of 25.
Yes, that's correct. Again, you just have to check if you're using any of those schemas that have been, if the data sets you have harmonized don't use an updated schema, then you don't need to do anything unless your data changes. But with any data set that uses the schemas in that list, you would need to retransform them. You will need to update the transformations for those projects, yeah, to use the new schemas.
Okay, I think this is in the member states, not in the focus. As far as I know, in Austria, it was not on our list until now. It's just owned under the big wheel. Okay, this I have
Maybe
to communicate this with my colleagues. That
one more comment on the timeline. You said beginning next year.
No, it's because
depends
next
on-
review, it's the next reporting of the 2025. The validation wouldn't accept the old ones.
Yeah, but
this was my what I understood. So just to recheck if I'm on the right track.
yeah, but the monitoring, I mean, it depends on your country when they harvest and so on. But I think in most of the countries, it's more mid next year. I mean, the official reporting is done in October, if I'm right.
October, November, depending on.
Okay, end
So
of the, okay.
It will not be January 2025, depending, as I said, on when your country harvests your data finally.
No, it's very important because many colleagues check once a year the data and do they rework. So if I miss now the time, then then we're a little bit late. So it's very important that you did this now. Then I can communicate this with my colleagues that this is a real urgent issue for some. So thank you very much. Okay, I got it.
Great. Super. Then, if there's no other questions, then guess thank you very much for joining. And again, as Johanna mentioned, I mean, we're happy to help any of you with questions or or help with the retransformations themselves. And I think we've also produced some tutorials, as I said, and blogs, and hopefully you can find something to help with that process. So from all of us on our side, thanks for joining today, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.